Hey friends, so I'm recording this video in the midst of the Oregon fires right now. Well, there's actually fires on the whole entire West Coast, California, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and it's likely that it will continue to spread because it's been, challenging for the firefighters that are fighting right now to maintain the fires that are happening simultaneously. So that being said, the topic that I'm going to be talking about today is around compassion fatigue and fight, flight, and freeze, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with. Some of you might have just discovered these ideas and thought processes during the pandemic that we're also going through, of course, during this time. Or maybe this is a totally new subject for you, and just know that we're here to learn together and support each other. So if there's things that you feel important to share below, please do, because this is for us to come together and help each other as much as we can as a community. So, when it comes to, thinking about where a lot of us have been in the last, few months, and I should say almost for the last 8 months, really, so almost a year at this point for some of us, that we've been going through, changes of pandemic and the regulations around that, and how many people we can be around, and what does social distancing mean, and comfortability of wearing masks indoors, outdoors, all these different things. And everybody's comfort level is different and valid because, all of us have different needs. And if anything, what is most important, though, is always communicating with the people that you're around, if it's comfortable for them, because those things matter very much. And, I know it's hard for us sometimes to really show that compassion when we can't always be compassionate to ourselves. And that's where this compassion fatigue really comes in sometimes for people. And where we are giving and giving and giving, and that could be to ourselves, to our partner, to our children, to our parents, to our neighbors, our coworkers, our friends, our family. I mean, there's just so many people, our community, protesting, all of those different things that, exert energy out of us. And while we're trying to fight for the injustices that have been in the world for longer than most of us have even been alive or even been conceptualized as a being, is that these things are happening simultaneously because we're finally getting to a point where this needs to happen. We need to take charge. We need to make a change because all these folks before us have tried and have made strides, but overall it hasn't changed the overarching issues of racism, environmentalism, climate change, all of those other serious bits of important subjects. So, when it comes to compassion fatigue, it's, something that's really hard for us to, continue to be compassionate towards others, even in this really trying time. For an example, I'm a funeral director, and, I've been finding it more challenging in the last few weeks to really extend my heart out to families that are in grief when I'm grieving a lot myself. And, it's important to take care of you before you can take care of other people. And that's something that I always try to remember when I'm feeling a little, out of sorts, and why am I not feeling as compassionate towards these people that I'm serving as much as I normally am. And, it's this self-reflection that I try to do during this time. And, it's a real thing for you to just not be able to, give that type of compassion level that you normally do in your job or to your family or to your kids or to your pets or to your friends and all of those things, because you're just literally trying to survive during this time of turmoil where our brains still cannot comprehend even what a pandemic means, let alone knowing how to live through these fires and all these other things of racial injustice and, and unpacking white privilege and colonialism and all of those things that we need to be better and do better at. It's challenging to bring all those together and try to continue to fight and move forward in your life when you can't even take care of yourself. And so just know it's okay that you step back sometimes and you do that, because if you cannot sustain, then you're not going to be helping anyone, including yourself, of course, because it's detrimental when you push yourself and push yourself and push yourself and you don't have the energy to actually push, because your brain will, be the first to kind of try to fight you. And then if you're not listening to what your brain and your thoughts are thinking, then that's when your body starts to attack and you get physically ill. And that's been happening to me quite a bit as of recent. And these really deep, hard places to go to and feel like you can come out of them feeling as okay as you possibly can when there's still a lot of turmoil. So, just make sure that anytime you're really needing to be compassionate towards yourself, that you do that first. And then that's when you can be compassionate towards others and, really, move that compassion as much as possible. But know that it's okay if you are getting tired and you can't do it all. Because what's most important is you rest and you take care of you. And don't feel shamed if your body changes during this time, or don't feel shamed if you're eating more or less than you normally do, or don't feel shamed if you're, going to your vices that you were hoping to change in this year, or, if all you can do is lay on the couch and watch TV or YouTube videos or whatever it is, that you just do whatever your body and your brain can physically handle and mentally handle at that time, because what is most important is that you sustain as best as you can. And, a lot of what we've been experiencing during this time, or I can say for myself, but I think I've heard from others that they've had these similar experiences of this, fight, flight, and freeze. And usually we associate those different ideas with PTSD symptoms, which, what we're going through is a very traumatic situation, the pandemic, injustice to the point where a lot of us, this is very new, or there's things that we're learning and unpacking that is overwhelming. And, third, when it comes to the fires and just knowing, like, is this the time that I need to start packing and be serious about leaving? How quickly should I leave? Is there a purpose of leaving? What do I do to stay safe and have my family and my loved ones stay safe as much as I possibly can? It's just, all of these things of, trauma that we're experiencing at the same time. And our brains usually can only process one type of trauma at a time. So imagine our brains going through all these different things. It's really hard to process. So if you're having dreams about, stress and anxiety, know that that's normal and part of your brain processing, information that's stuck in there and needs to work itself out. And, as much as you're able to openly talk about your feelings and your thoughts with others, try to do that. I know it can be challenging, but that's something that can help you vocalize, really what is truly in your body. And sometimes those things are what can help us move, in a direction of not feeling like we're just stuck. Because that feeling has come up a lot for me during this time, and I know it's a hard place to feel and be able to really yank yourself out of. And, Yeah, and so getting back to that, the fight, flight, and freeze, flight, something that a lot of us are thinking right now is like, do we need to go? That's flight. Like, I woke up this morning and I was like, I need to get the hell out of here. Like, what am I doing? The air isn't good. This could come my way at any time. Do I want to be that person that holds someone else up on the road? Like, what is it that I can do, to make it easier for other people? But at the same time, I have to think about me and just know that flight, observing it and seeing if that is actually truly what's going to be helpful for me. Or is it just something that I'm feeling because it's a reaction to what's going on? And no, it's okay if you just take on that reaction and you do take flight. It's not a problem that you do that. That's what your body and your brain's telling you to do. And so you, again, have to listen to that. I have just learned for myself that I need to reflect when I'm feeling that flight, because a lot of the time that comes up when I'm thinking like I'm out of control and the only control I have is to leave and do something different. And so sometimes I need to reflect back and say, what does that mean for me to really do that? Would it be beneficial to me in the long run? And then, when it comes to freezing, and, that's normal in the way of like, what do I do? Like, your brain maybe just stops working. It just feels like it's to the point where it literally cannot compute. And I can say I've been there so many times during this time, before this time, where it's just like all of a sudden I'm working so hard and not letting myself take a break. And I'm just like, this is what I have to do. And then all of a sudden I can't do anything. It just stops. It ceases to exist of being something that I can even process. And that's just because my brain is telling my body that you need to relax. You need to wait and figure out what is next. And don't just keep going and going and going. Like, you're not the Energizer Bunny. That's not something that you can do and be sustainable, even if that's what, needs to happen. And again, know that freezing is okay. It's just your reaction from your body and your mind coming together and telling you, this is what you're experiencing right now. Taking a look at that and deciding what is best for you to move forward. And then, when it comes to fighting, it's, that's a can look in all different ways. Fighting can be literally fighting, physically fighting back. It could be fighting with your words. It could be fighting with, your inner words. Just, always being argumentative instead of, taking a step back and saying, why am I feeling like I need to be defensive at this time? Is it because I'm out of control, and so the one thing I can control is just knowing that I'm a good person, and so me being defensive just shows like I'm not trying to be ill-intentioned, which likely you're not. You're again reacting, your body's reacting, and that's what it does to protect yourself. And again, that's normal and it's okay. And, for me, like I think, fight comes out sometimes for me, but usually it's that internalized fight more than it is external. So when I think about, fighting myself internally, I have to take a step back again and say, I can only do what I have control over. And that is, I am not going to be upset when I didn't do something this week, or I did do something this week. I'm only doing what I possibly can do, and that is enough, and that's just what I have to try to remember. And, and that's what helps me get out of that fighting feeling. But, that's okay if that doesn't work for you. All of these are just, ideas and things that I've experienced and have worked for me. So none of this means like these are things you should be doing, or this is how you should be reacting, or this is what you should be looking at when your body is going through these natural processes during a time of complete trauma. And so all of that being said, again, is that what it comes back to most is you just taking care of yourself and learning about yourself and how to take care of yourself. Like, learning about how to take care of you is one of the most crucial things you can do, because no one else is going to know how to help you if you don't even know how to help yourself. Because you can't then determine what your needs are and be able to tell them how to fulfill those needs that you have, and or even for you to fulfill your own needs, because it's easy for us to compartmentalize and not think about those things. But as much as you're able to do, try to do it, because what again is most important is that you are taking care of yourself, and this is a way that you can take care of yourself, especially if it is something you try and it really feels right for you. And maybe it won't, and that's okay. You did it. You tried. That's all you can really do ever, is just try. So thank you for being here. I know that I probably could talk a lot more about this subject matter, but I'm, feeling a little like today myself. So I just knew that this would help me, though, talk about it out loud and share with all of you kind of just what thoughts I've been having recently, and, and just wanting to also share that, I've been experiencing a lot of depression recently, and I want to normalize that, and say it's okay if you're also feeling that. I think this is the most depressive, I've ever been in my entire life so far. So it's been quite challenging and a really new way to navigate me. So if, you're struggling with that and you need to reach out, please do, because it's helpful when we can talk with each other about, how we're feeling, and or at least it's helpful for me. So if that's something that's helpful for you, please reach out, because I'm here and I want to talk to you about it. And hopefully we can, come to more understandings, and that's my goal. And anyways, I hope everyone on the West Coast is taking care of themselves as best as you can, and, reach out to your loved ones, and making sure that, we care for our community as much as we're humanly able to. And anyways, I love you all, and I hope that you stay safe and take care as best as you can. Bye.